Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. Life could be a little bit dark, a little bit miserable, so once again we're here to bring you a little bit of light and a little bit of joy, or something in that order. I've probably got it all the wrong way round again, but here to correct me is Stu. Hi Brad, how you doing Stu?
Yeah, not too bad. I am the Brad Tipex. That's my thing.
Does that go on your CV?
Yeah, that is. It's a full-time job, is correcting Brad. That's what I say I do.
But I'm practically perfect in every way.
I know. I've very little work to do.
Yeah, that's bad because I don't let you get any words in.
Yeah, true.
I'm pretty sure you could just sit there in front of your editor, just highlight random chunks, hit delete, and I'd still make as much sense as I do.
The king of the non sequiturs. No, it's
nothing was lost.
No, that's very harsh on yourself and only partially true. But
quick segue. Talking of only partially true, Peter Montague.
Yes.
I don't know.
Go on.
He's only partially true. Is he ever true? Actually, I'm sure you must say some true.
The title of the games he releases are true, I suppose.
Yes, that's very true. But anyway, Peter Molyneux, do you know what he used to make?
What?
Video games, Stu.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently even good video games at one point.
That's the rumour.
So, yeah. It actually kind of works. Even though he didn't make one of the ones I'm talking about, but it's from a time of Peter Molyneux goodness. When Peter Molyneux was a name, you went, oh, Bullfrog and all that. They make good games. So it's around that sort of time. But anyway, what have you been playing, Stu?
Well, I have been playing a shooter again, which is Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that came out not long ago, and it is, as the kids today say, he says, shaking his walking cane, a boomer shooter. So it's very much in the old style of, sort of Quake era, more like the, Duke Nukem 3D kind of era, very low poly in the background and very sprite scaled stuff, and very deliberate aesthetic. Obviously it's like a deliberate throwback, and as those throwbacks go, it's a good one. It's very enjoyable, good fun. You just basically, I don't know the Warhammer thing very well, like 40k, but I know of it, and I've
No, you can afford a house, so clearly you don't.
That's a very good point. So I mean, I know of Space Marines and Terminators and Chrysalids or whatever they're called and stuff like that, but it's kind of very Judge Dreddy in that it's a kind of meta parody of kind of all of that big guns, big guys kind of thing. A lot of people don't really catch the satire in it, I don't think, but it's supposed to be a bit of a satire on this sort of stuff, and on religion as well. But none of that's present really. It's just a dumb as rocks shooter, and the sort of engine-wise, kind of gameplay-wise differentiator is that you're very, 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 very powerful, and you have face a lot of enemies, so it's kind of in a Doom guy way. And your extra special abilities are things like, you can big jump, drop as far as you like, or a bit kind of like Spartans from Halo kind of thing. You got a great big chainsaw that not only does a lot of damage on one hit, but you can hammer the button to do extra damage. So its difficulty comes with some enemies with huge amounts of health, and apart from that, a lot of enemies spawn in very quickly into kill zones, kill areas that you're stuck in. So it's kind of like all as you'd expect really. It's very, 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 very basic. It doesn't do anything gameplay wise that's special in any way that I've found. Like everything is like polished to a really high sheen, but it's still an antique. It is a complete antique. Antique. So any gameplay innovations that came in from just after Quake really are not present, and that's fine. It doesn't pretend to. My only criticism, so it's like it does all that stuff really, really well, but my only criticism is that, well, it's a two-part criticism. One is that the backgrounds are very, very samey. It looks very samey all the way through, which sort of leads to the second criticism, which is it's quite easy to get lost because everything looks the same. Yeah.
That's I wanted to come in and say that. That's my big criticism. And for someone with ADHD, I got lost a lot. And I got frustrated with it on that, but I enjoyed playing it still.
Yes, it is. For me, it's quite a significant failing. Even though it's doing everything really well, it doesn't use like colour breakup to tell you where to go. It doesn't use environmental, like, again, you're going back to like really dated stuff. It's like it hasn't really picked up on modern level design of, flickering lights above a kind of doorway to kind of hint that that's that, or a little bit of a colour breakup to show that like, most of the level is green and grey, there's a little bit of yellow splashed over there, or head and look what that is. So it doesn't use any of that really either. And I thought initially that little funky skull head that floats around following you, I thought that little...
Oh, that prick.
Yeah. I thought that little prick might like be actually leading you to where you need to go if you let him.
No. It's just Clippy. It's just Clippy.
Yeah. Yep. So, that's a little bit of a 4. Apart from that, it's really, really solid. And if you like those kind of shooters, you're really going to enjoy it because it's good fun. It's one of those things, pick up for 10, 20 minutes a day, put down, not think about till the next time you fancy blowing something up.
Yeah, totally agree with your assessment there. I enjoyed it despite those shortcomings, and I do keep going back to it now and again. But I do remember, I think it was like the second level after the tutorial, where I just kind of ran around the same 2 buildings for about an hour because I got lost. And I couldn't find the way out of getting out of those 2 buildings. I was like, I'm into this one. Maybe I go up here, across here. Trying to jump across ledges that weren't quite ledges that I could jump across. Didn't know they weren't because it was no different to ledges you could go on. And again, you're right, just a little colour breakup. We're not talking like Uncharted levels of, these are definitely hand grips you can climb. But yeah, just little bits. I never remembered ever getting lost in a level of Doom. So yeah, that's inexcusable, and it did become frustrating, which is a shame because the beat to beat action is outstanding, and it takes it from a game that I think is really good and I do enjoy, and if it didn't have these shortcomings, would have been one of our highly wanted, craved MHG award games. But unfortunately, those shortcomings do mean that it's something that, definitely from someone with ADHD, I can't really recommend going out and going, get this game, because it just lacks that something.
Yes, and there is one little glimmer of hope in it, and that is that if you go into the accessibility options, it's buried, but you have the option to unlock all levels from the start. So what you can do if you want, I mean, just go straight to the end if you want. Do whatever you like. I'm not your dad. But
complete it.
Yeah, exactly. But what you can do if you want is when you get stuck, and you've done everything in the level and there's no enemies and it's just like, this design is shit, I can't find the exit door. Just skip to the next level. Just quit out, do a level select, go to the next level. So there is a way around it a little bit, but there's no real reason why you should have to do that. Especially in a game that's this good quality, really, otherwise.
Yeah, but that's highly sort of like that deserves praise that they've got that level skip there. Because, again, you've bought the game. If it's got levels, you should be able to skip them.
Yeah.
If you don't like that particular level. Don't get your rewards, whatever, that's fine. Don't get your rewards. But let you skip. Just let you skip it. If it's got a story beat that you've got to do, still can be the cutscenes or whatever, but just let me skip the level.
Yeah.
Because if I can't skip it and I'm stuck on that level, that's a surefire way for me to go, yeah, I'm not going to load that up next time.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Totally with you on that. Seeing as we're in a bit of a retro mode though, Stu, do you remember the best platforming game of the 80s and 90s?
I do remember it. It was Zool, wasn't it? Yeah. No.
I think you're going a bit too far. No. Gimmick. Do you remember Gimmick, Stu?
No, I do not.
No? Bloody hell, well, Gimmick's getting a special edition re-release.
Okay. Yay.
So, right. It is a bit of a yay, actually. In all fairness, I've never heard of it. I thought it was one of those. So do you know how Devolver Digital really recently done their thing, and they had Volvi, the character who was this retro character mascot thing that they sort of like satired. They done that for their recent show, but anyway, it was. I thought this was like, almost like that it was like designed to be. This character was from like the 80s and 90s, and it's getting a re-release, but it was a brand new game. No, it's by Sunsoft, the original game, and it released in 1992 on the NES. Called Mr. Gimmick in Scandinavia only, apparently.
Okay,
so there you go. Bit of a bonus factoid for you.
I prefer that title. I prefer Mr. Gimmick.
Yes,
yeah.
I do. Mr. Before Everything. Mr. Mrs. Pac-Man. There you go. Or Mr. Ms. Pac-Man, rather, not Mrs. Pac-Man.
There's a Ms. Yeah.
Dear Christ, why would I go there?
Who knows, Bradley? Who knows?
I'm part of the patriarchy now. There we go.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, we go full retro. But no, Mr. Gimmick or Gimmick is just a typical early 90s 2D platformer with a character mascot. Looks like it would fit in the Bubble Bobble era. It would fit in the Bubble Bobble games, but not quite. It's not quite Bub and Bob. But, that sort of design. You go through platforming, bouncing on things' heads, equally difficult level, blah, 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 all the usual shtick. If you like the game back when it came out, you'll love it. But what it does have to it, and I think this is a really interesting way of bringing back an old game, it's got built-in speedrun mode. So you get actual like timers, like proper speedrun timers. So you get split times, your total time and all that built into the game, that you could go over and over and over and over, and obviously get your good split times. Now, I'm assuming, I might be wrong, that if you could get this recorded, because it's built in, you could probably use it to submit to a speedrun board,
right?
Possibly,
yeah.
Don't know. But it's got that built in, and I'm looking at that going, game's okay, right? It's average game. It's like, I played a bit, I'm done, right? But this speedrun mode, put that in all games, because that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
This split, it's brilliant.
It's good, isn't
Just
it?
put it in.
It's cropping up in a lot more now, which is really good. Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, it's really good. It's got usual achievements, like there's time attack mode, online leaderboards, and all that part of it, and all like the usual gubbies. Like you can look at old pictures of the game. It's not a looker, so if you really want to, then fair enough. It's definitely a NES era game, but not a highly polished NES era game. But yeah, do you know what? It's fine. This is what I'll say about it. I enjoyed it enough. It comes out at some point very, very soon, though. But yeah, it's interesting. Retro fans might like it. I got a couple of hours worth of enjoyment out of it, and now I'm done.
Sounds fair.
Comes out today, actually, as of recording. So the 6th of July. There we go.
Yeah. I feel simultaneously kind of like cheered and deeply, deeply sad when things like this come out, because it's kind of like, well, it's not as good as, but it reminds me a little bit of Umahari Kawase, if I've pronounced that right, which is that fairly uncommon, like fairly rare SNES era game that came out. I think it was, I'm not sure if it got an American release, definitely didn't get a UK or PAL release, where you've got like a Bionic Commando style arm, but it's a much cuter kind of thingy, kind of platform game.
Yeah.
And they did a few years back, I think 3 or 4 years ago, they had like a big boost, and they released a couple of new titles. I think they did a remaster and a new title, and the new title had like a VR mode and everything, and it was like, oh, we've redone it. And it's like, I don't think anybody cared apart from the people who were obsessed with it anyway back in the day, who already owned it. And that's what this smacks of to me. And it makes me feel a little bit kind of, like my initial thought is like, why did you bother? And then immediately on the heels of that, I feel guilty for saying, why do you bother? Because you brought joy to the people who already loved it. But it is a funny one. It's like, it is a kind of why bother, but thank you for doing it anyway.
It'd be like remastering Droplets.
Yeah.
you know, they've got a guaranteed sale out of that. So yeah, but I would kind of, even as a massive fan of Droplets, go, well, that's a bit pointless, but thank you so much. And I suppose, yeah, this fits right in there as well.
Yeah.
There's probably a handful of people that really do remember Gimmick and really enjoyed Gimmick, and the fact it's got a speedrun mode in there suggests that there is maybe a hardcore fandom behind it as well. So yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good on them.
Yeah. Hopefully it just brings them more money than they know what to do with. That would be lovely. But it brings them more money than they expected and covers all their costs.
Yes. So what's next up from you?
Well, I have to kind of have a little bit of a go at you, to be honest, because you gave me the key for Shotgun King. And
Key to my heart.
Yeah, well, there's that. You gave me that years ago, and I was like, what's this rusty old thing? I just threw it away.
That's my chastity belt.
Yeah, I found my way around that though. But yeah, you gave me a game key for Shotgun King, the final Checkmate, which we talked about on the podcast before, so I'm not going to go into great detail about what it is. I'll try and dig out. I don't think I've got the particular number of the podcast episode, but it's in one of our past ones. Tell you what, listen to all of our past ones again and you'll find it. There you go. A few hundred hours of entertainment or equivalent. And what it is very briefly, it's a kind of roguelite type of thing where you are on a chessboard, you've got one piece, predetermined number of other pieces on the opposing side attack you, and you get buffs and debuffs and stuff to do it. And it sounds weirder and less clever than it really is. It's really clever. It is fantastic. I've been totally obsessed with this since you gave it to me. I've basically not put it down. Every time I've got a free second, I'm like, I want to do it again. I want to get back on. I want to do my run. Like the last time I had this was like probably Enter the Gungeon, which felt very similar, and I put about 30 hours into that. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I don't know how much it is, but buy it because it's just brilliant.
It's either usually $8.99, but it's available as part of this month's Humble Bundle as well, in which you get loads of other cracking games as well. We're not affiliated, just wanted to point that out because you can get the Outer Worlds full bloody blah edition with everything involved, plus Shotgun King for £9.
Do it.
But no, Shotgun has no right to be as good as what it is, because it looks like it's just trying to be a silly game that goes, oh look, chess but violent.
Yeah.
But it is so deep and involved that I really liked it, and I'm glad you're getting the enjoyment out of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to stage 10 is the highest I've got out of 12. Stage 10 on the throne mode. And it gets so hard, but not in an unfair way. Just,
it's
so
brutal.
good. Yeah, it's so good.
I have not played it for a little while, so I might dig it back out again because it's brutal.
It's like the last thing on it. The download is 60 meg in size. That's it. That's the entire size.
So even if you've only got a 64 gigabyte Steam Deck, there you go. You can play it.
Yeah, with space to spare. So yeah, you could fit it on the teeniest little SD card that you could possibly find. And yeah, absolutely wonderful.
Right, here we go. Right, a challenge for you for next week, Stu. Okay. What is the most recent game that was actually released? It has a sale price. I'm not on about like an itch.io little bit or what's those that Pico 8 games or anything like that. Right, release game, most modern, most recent release that would fit on a floppy disk.
Ooh, on a floppy. Oh my god, that's a challenge.
There you go. That's for next week.
Good God.
Okay.
I'll see if I can find one. I don't know if any...
You're not busy this week, so there you go.
Do you know, not to like puncture the fun, but I'm not sure there are any. I think there's probably enough like rights management stuff and Steam backgrounds.
Don't get me wrong. If you've got to go back to 1983 or something like that's fine. I just need to know what's the most recent game that will fit on a floppy disk.
Okay. All right. I will have a look.
But also, actually talking.
Oh, hang on. Did you say, before you do? Did you say it has to be on Steam, or can it just be from anywhere?
Anywhere.
Okay. Cool.
Rotterdam. or anywhere, Liverpool or Rome, anywhere.
Yeah. All right, right, cool.
Yeah, it hasn't got to be on Steam because I dare say there's none on Steam. But yeah, anyway, talking of Shotgun Key, very briefly, it links into this a little bit.
Go for it.
There's a new plugin on Decky Loader for the Steam Deck that allows you to create your own custom library tabs now. So, you've got like all games, deck ready, installed, categories, non-Steam, all those tabs in your library section.
Yeah.
You can now create your own ones as well. So I've created a daily play playlist that has 15 titles in it that I like to go back on a daily basis. So like Binding of Isaac, Street Fighter, Slay the Spire, stuff like that. And it's a brilliant way of being able just to like get all your favourite categories without it just being your favourites, because I've got favourite games that I'll never go back to again, but I like in my favourites list. So it's a really good way of like, what's the stuff I'll play on a daily basis without having to search for your entire library. Just create your own tab, stick it in there, and away you go.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
and Shotgun, I might pop Shotgun Kid in there. Is where I was getting with that. So, very, very quickly, this one is just want to bring attention to it. It's a game that when I done my internship with Player 2 PR, just to get a taste of the other side of the business, it's a game that they have worked on in terms of PR and stuff. So I'm not going to review it because morals and ethics and things like that. But it's called A Long Journey to an Uncertain End, which is a resource management RPG visual novel style thing set in space, very LGBTQ plus friendly. So, everyone's got their own pronouns. It's not made a big deal of. There's same-sex relationships, different types of sexuality all in there. Adds absolutely no bearing on the game as such, but people live their own lives, which is really good. And it's kind of like this space opera, soap opera type thing with resource management. So you get lots of like interpersonal dramas between all the characters and everything while you're trying to recruit a crew to get through space for this ongoing story. Again, I'm not going to spoil for anyone if you want to give it a go. But you have to manage the crew, upgrade them, make sure they're happy. They're able to go out and do missions for you. You've got to set the best people for those missions. They can die, and etc, etc, etc. Really interesting game. I'm having lots of fun with it. Again, but I'm not going to go into a full in-depth review because technically I'm linked to it in some way, twice removed. It's okay to sleep with that cousin maybe type thing. It's not. Never do that. That's wrong. But yeah, it's interesting. It's out on Steam now. It's about 20 quid, but might be a bit steep for some, but there's plenty of content on there, and it seems to be gaining positive reviews. So yeah, Long Journey to an Uncertain End. Check it out.
Nice. Very cool.
And now my actual game I want to talk about is, I feel a bit guilty about mentioning this one. So that's a bad segue. That's a bad segue because it's called Guilt. It's by Tequila Works, who do other games that are popular, and mine's blanked on what they are. So yeah, so it's done like Sexy Brutale, Deadlight. You may remember things like that. Rhyme they did as well. So they've got a pretty decent track record of interesting games. Not always the best games, though. That much I will say. And Guilt kind of falls in that. So, have you played Alan Wake, Stu?
I have.
And are you fed up of waiting for Alan Wake 2, Stu?
A little bit.
Would you like to play my first Alan Wake?
I kind of would.
Yes. Well, okay, Guilt is that game for you.
Nice.
It's a story-based game that uses like light mechanics and stuff like that, and sort of stealthy in places. It's a horror narration-based game. Definitely lifts some elements from Alan Wake, but without being Alan Wake. So you play this little girl. I think she's meant to be pre-teen, might be a teenager. I don't know, because the graphic style is very like wood carving CG type thing. It'll make sense when you see the game. But essentially, it starts off, her sister's been missing and she's putting up missing posters, and the whole town seems to have forgotten or moved on from her sister being missing. But she isn't. She gets chased by some bullies who are mocking her for her sister being missing. Really good. Sorry, I want to point out, good representation of bullies, because bullies will mock you for disasters in your life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're like.
Yeah.
But yeah, they chase her. Her bike goes missing. She breaks her bike and she has to get a cable car, and then it all kicks off. She goes back to her hometown and it's abandoned. And you kind of like, oh, this is all odd. Why is it abandoned? And you find a torch. But you have to shine your torch, and your torch becomes quite important. You know, much like a certain Mr. Wake type game. And you go through, you kind of like, a lot of it's like you've got to navigate the story by going into different buildings or different areas and avoiding these monsters that you find out are affected by light. So you want to try and stay in the shadows, stay crouched to avoid them. And the game progresses beyond that and does other things. And when I first played it, like put it on, I was like, this is just like Alan Wake for babies. So much so Elijah Wood was there mocking me for playing it. You know, your 80s references. And yeah, but I kind of like played a bit more of it, and it goes some really, really interesting places. The stealth mechanics are good. So it's not a stealth game, but the stealth mechanics work really, really well. You stay hidden from these monsters because you want to stay hidden from these monsters, not because it's a stealth game that goes, oh, use stealth mechanics. It's got them, but you're going, I don't want to go anywhere near these bloody things. They're going to, like, these are terrifying for, like, putting yourself in the shoe of this, like, this little girl who's trying to search for her missing sister and find out what the hell has happened to her town. And yeah, it's got loads of different, like, really interesting puzzles that some people will go, oh, these aren't difficult enough, but they're fine. They tax you a little bit. I say it's a mixture of stealth in there, there's action in there, but it balances it all really, really well. The atmosphere is outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Absolutely dripping in it. I think the visual style is brilliant. It's got some really good audio cues in there as well. I'm a couple of hours in with it so far. Nowhere near the end, but it's one of those games where I put it on and just went, damn, I like this. I need to talk about this because it's that good. I'm really happy that I got into this.
Nice.
I do want to go back and play the Alan Wake games again because of it. Because it's not as good as Alan Wake. Again, you've got to argue it's not as good as Alan Wake, but it has got probably like a tenth of a fraction of the budget of Alan Wake at the same time. But yeah, it's if you are into those sorts of games, God, it ticks all those boxes really, really well.
Nice, yeah. So it's not actually out yet as we speak, but I'm guessing it's out very shortly. So
it's out today.
Right, okay, cool. So
as we speak, it releases in 2 hours exactly.
Right.
But as you listen to this in the future, it's out. I don't know the price because it doesn't have the price.
It doesn't have it published, no. But no worries. No. I think I'll get it anyway. So how does it perform on deck?
Oh, yeah. One of those games. This is happening more and more with deck. We don't need to mention it because it just played. I installed it like it was a games console, pressed play, and away it went. I had to do nothing. So much so, I can't remember the last time I've had to bring up performances to go, is this game working well? I don't know. And then had to check the frames per second or even switch to the 40 or anything like that. It's just one of those games now that's come out and just gone, yeah, this is fine. This plays well.
Nice.
None of the faff that we used to have when we were setting up deck games show. That's all seems to be a thing of the past with a lot of mid-tier or mid-level games, you know, like especially indie games, maybe your top tier games. Even Street Fighter, I didn't really have to do it because it automatically set the graphic settings for me when I put it in, so I didn't have to fuss.
Nice.
But yeah, brilliant on the deck. Controller friendly, and yeah, I just completely forgot I was playing it on the deck, so to speak, because there's no faff anymore.
Excellent. Good news.
But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Highly, highly, highly recommend. If it carries on as strong as what it is, it may get a place on their awards page for the year. That's how much I like it.
Nice.
Which means everyone else will probably hate it because that tends to happen.
That's how it works.
Yeah, no one else likes the games I like. Everyone else went, Planet Alana, that's a bit crap because the puzzles aren't there. That's not the point! So, yeah. But I really like it, and it will probably go on my must-play for the year.
Cool.
But that's it from me in terms of games. But can we, very, very quickly, unless you've got another game. You got another game?
Nope.
No, very, very quickly, Steam Deck stuff again. Very quickly, a lot of rivals are coming out now. And all I see now is YouTube thumbnails or clickbait stories going, oh, is this why you shouldn't get a Steam Deck? Or can the Aya Neo or whatever? Is this the Steam Deck? It's not. I think the Switch has taught us that power is not the be-all and end-all. It's the ecosystem and making sure everything just works in a satisfactory way. And because no one's got the control set that a Steam Deck has, you're always going to have compromised games on the other systems that you'll never have on a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, there are some games that work really badly. I struggle with some strategy games, and you need a mouse and keyboard, so you can't play it handheld. But most games that require mouse now, the trackpads are so good now. I've got used to them. And you don't get that. I can't use a right stick mouse anymore. Just like that's what I used when I first had the Steam Deck. It's all done on the trackpads now, and no other system can match that. And it's just, there's a lot of talk now. Steam are going to be going and focusing on their new VR stuff that they're building, and Steam Deck might be pushed to the wayside. I don't know if they can. I think like Pandora's box is open now with this. I think Steam Deck is going to be a driver, and I think PC developers now have finally got a target that they need to reach. Because you've obviously in the past you've had to go, right, we've got to make sure that this game works on an Xbox or works on a PlayStation. You kind of build it around that, whereas PC you haven't. Now you've kind of got to go, well, Steam Deck's got the install base that if we can get it working on there and then up the quality from there, then we know we've got a definite install base, and then plus. So I think the long term with the Steam Deck now, even if it's not this iteration of it, I think has now changed how PC developers will make games, because they haven't got to go, what's the lowest common graphics card we can look at? Just, you want it, if you can get it running on the Steam Deck, you're good. You got an install base instantly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's just really interesting because, I've seen lots of backlash at the moment against the Steam Deck because people have been spending £800-900 on a competitor, and they sort of trying to really hammer home that, oh, this is the one, this is better, it's more powerful, it's 1080p. And I've played a game yet where I've gone, oh, I wish this was a couple of 100p more.
Yeah.
Brighter screen, don't get me wrong. If they offered an update with a better, brighter screen, I would be all over that. That gave better colours and stuff. I would be all over that. But I don't think I've played a game on there yet where I've gone, this will benefit from a couple more p in there.
Yeah, I know. It's the classic argument of like the Switch. It's like it's the weakest console on the market. It's the oldest technology, but it's by far the biggest seller. So you need to take your lessons from that, and they have. So there you go.
Yeah, and I would trade giving me the extra battery life over the couple of extra p. I don't even know what a p is. Is it pixels? Is the p pixels?
No, it's for progressive, as in progressive scan versus interlaced. We can get into it if you want, but I will send most people to sleep.
No. We like to bring a little bit of light and a little bit of joy, Stu, not put people to sleep on their final days.
Absolutely.
Okay, I thought it meant pixels, but there you go. But yeah, we only broadcasting 800p. Can you do P in audio? I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. You don't need 4K on a small screen, essentially.
No.
It does not matter.
No.
And then you'd only be able to play for 5 minutes in the car anyway, so yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling, Stu. Do you know what that means?
I do.
I'm going to shut up now.
Cool. Great. So, yes, as usual, follow us on all the socials. Check out our content on the website and on YouTube. Follow us on Threads, which launched today at point of recording. We're already
not the depressing 80s. I want to say documentary. It wasn't a documentary. It should have been a documentary. The depressing 80s BBC dystopian drama thing. Yeah, because that's not what it is.
Nope.
I mean, it might well become that because it's social media, but it's not at the moment.
Yeah, we might turn it
Sorry, I meant to be shutting up.
Yeah, we might turn it into a dystopian drama, but that's to be seen. So, yeah, follow us on Threads as well. And other than that, stay safe and stay sane.